Hi again everyone, Amy here. This is your weekly update for the first day of spring, Saturday, March 20th, 2021. So happy spring, and with the fact that spring is here, that means it's time to start getting out in the lawn and garden and doing some of those chores. And you can find a list of chores on our website in the gardening calendar section, and I'm going to talk about a few of those for March. The first one, actually it lists mid-March, is to go rake all of that snow mold off your lawn. I don't really have any at home. I don't know if you do or not, but if you do have any snow mold or really heavy debris, you want to rake that up. If you're planning on doing any lawn seeding, you can actually do that now. And as the soil temperature rises, the seed will start to germinate when it's ready. As far as fertilizing either the lawn or the garden, it is still a bit early. We do suggest to wait until that forsythia starts blooming in the spring. What's nice about fertilizer is you can kind of think of it as doing it on holidays. This is usually the case for lawn fertilizer and garden fertilizer. So Easter, of course, depending on when that comes, or tax day, I guess you could think of it, Memorial Day, July 4th, Labor Day, and or Halloween. Now the July 4th or Independence Day application, some plants we actually tell you not to do. That would be like rhododendrons and azaleas. Why? Well, because the plant may put on too much new growth that can't get hardened off in time for winter, which means it may freeze and it may damage your plants. As far as lawn fertilizer is concerned, you can do that first step of any 4-step lawn care program, usually is fertilizer and your crabgrass preventer. If you are planning on seeding the lawn, you cannot use that product. That product will kill any germinating grass seed. So either skip it, or last year we were unable to get this product, but this year finally we got a product from Scott's that knows the difference between grass seed and weed seed. So you can apply that while seeding and prevent crabgrass at the same time. The only disadvantage of it is it's a bit pricey compared to traditional first step of a lawn care program. The next subject to talk about is weeds. I know I have quite a few of those winter weeds growing up in my landscape beds. I am just pulling them from now. Pretty soon you'll start noticing those dandelions and clover coming in your yard. You can choose a product like Weed Beater. That works really well for those viney type weeds in the yard. But you might not like to hear this, but a lot of times the blooms of the clover, the dandelion, are some of the first flowers that the pollinators visit in the spring. So they are very important to their life cycle. So if you can stand the sight of these weeds, please leave them for our native pollinators. Now, I've never had a problem really of using products like Roundup in my yard. They work really well, of course, but the more I read about it, you actually have to think of the soil as not just dirt. It's like a mini microorganism of life. It's filled with earthworms and bacteria and mycorrhizae that actually help with your plants. So I'm talking landscape beds here. So I think I'm gonna try a little harder this year to either pull weeds out or possibly heavily mulch a little more than I usually do. And I actually really like the pine bark mulch. It's really easy to spread like with a rake because it's fine chips. And as years go by and you keep using this mulch and it gets worked into the soil, I'm telling you, my soil right now, it's like what we like to call chocolate cake. It's ideal. The plants just love it. More things to do in March would be to take a soil test. We actually have soil test kits that get sent off to Penn State University. Ohio State no longer does this. This is great for people who really care about their lawn, or also for your garden if you haven't done a soil test in quite some time. You can also now start transplanting, as long as you can dig a hole, because it might still be frozen. You can start transplanting hardy trees and shrubs in your landscape. I actually just moved a gold cone juniper. It was in my fairy garden. I actually bought it as a fairy garden plant a long, long time ago, but it is now 3 feet tall. So it had to go. I moved that successfully and it's looking great. Now is also the time to start cutting dead wood out of roses and to trim them to shape. This would be all roses, including, your shrub types, your knockouts, your drifts, your oh so easy, and that at last rose as well. And moving on from the to-do list, this Saturday is my last scheduled, at least, seminar video. It's what the new annuals for 2021. There's one plant in that video that actually isn't new at all. After editing it and doing some research, but I left it in anyway, is a caladium called Norton. I guess it's been around a long, long time, but this is the first time we're actually growing it from the bulb. So, hey. And I'll also talk about 2 plants that are actually perennial that you may think are annual. and one is a hardy banana plant, and boy, is it spectacular. But going forward, I do not want to set myself up to a schedule for these specialty videos. Things are getting really busy around here, and editing videos is very unpredictable. I don't know how long it's going to take, and I don't know how often my software is going to crash. So we do have other videos scheduled, like new trees, new shrubs, new perennials. Those all need to be edited and they need to be put up, but I will let you know, of course, when those get uploaded. So what's going on around here? Well, semis have definitely started coming in. We've received a big shipment of trees we had to pot up, and next week I heard quite a few Oregon trucks may come, but this is dependent on weather. The trucks will not be heated, so we have to watch the weather very closely to make sure those plants don't freeze by the time they get here. And once they do get here, we're going to unload those trucks as quickly as possible and jam pack all those plants into the Crabo house, which is that large structure in the middle of our garden center, which has a retractable roof, so we can open it and close it as needed for air circulation or even rain if we wanted. Once the plants are in there, we'll start tagging them, but unfortunately they will not be available. They will be so closely packed in there that we won't be able to get one from another. So soon, I promise, in the next couple of weeks, we will start getting that sales yard filled up, and you'll be able to start plant shopping. One of these groups of plants that we're really excited to see are 60 different varieties of magnolias from a grower up in Madison, Ohio. This could be any color, any size, any shape of magnolia. This group of 60 will be in smaller pots to begin with. Some we will upshift to larger trees for like next year's sales, and some we're actually going to plant in the botanical garden to see how they do. So we cannot wait to see all these beautiful magnolias in bloom. And speaking of the botanical garden, the witch hazels are in full bloom down there. These bloom from like January to May. The witch hazel is definitely a tough shrub. Okay, so let's head outside and see what everyone's working on. Tulips are coming back really nice in the pollinator garden, and we did cut back our butterfly bush by about half. So my first stop is the perennial greenhouse to see how the clematis are doing after Karen had cut them back. They are so resilient. Look at all those new growth and buds. Looking over the south side of the house are probably thousands of baby perennials ready to be potted up. I think they are going to have a very long day of work. Oh, and look at these awesome lupins. Here are the Feathered Friend series of ajuga from Michigan. These ultra hardy plants are bred for their bright and colorful foliage and flowers. Even though these are baby plants, we do have some planted last summer for early spring sales. The potting continues as each new plant gets a small dose of fertilizer. And this is pretty much the final product, ready to be organized into alphabetical order by Latin name on the tables. Walking into the greenhouse, I wanted to show you all of the absolutely gorgeous color we have going on in here. And one of my favorite flowers of all time is the ranunculus. Look at all those petals. Headed over here, we are starting to get in some Easter plants. Thought this one was especially adorable. It looks like a chocolate bunny, but it's just a plastic pot. And lemon cypress, for the first time we've had those. They do smell like lemon if you brush up against them. We have a lot of cute pottery, and the primrose just came in as well. Easter lilies are coming in, and of course, plenty of pansies. And yes, you can plant those now. I planted some at home about a week ago. They freeze pretty much every morning, but they look pretty good. Also, herbs. These herbs are really nice. These are full 4.5-inch pots. Very fresh, very nice. $4.99 for each of those. Then from that way to the back, where we are working away, starting to fill up. Unfortunately not with the plants that will end up in here, but we have a whole slew of our propagated homegrown evergreen azaleas. These won't stay here, of course, they're not annuals, but they'll find a new home soon. I do want to show you what's happening back here. We are unloading a whole bunch of boxes of really neat ferns and house plants and these tiny little pixie plants. And even though they just cut all the flowers off, Oriole and Max are working on hanging baskets of the really cool black magic petunia. And I found a tray of that same black magic petunia in the back, not cut back yet, so that's what those look like. And back here in the last bay, not much has changed, except we have some more dahlia flowers going on. And here's more of those tiny lilies I've been telling you about over the last few weeks. Definitely starting to come up. So heading outside, not much is going on in here. Some plants did arrive already. Some being potted up. But it looks like we have an empty slate here. But I'm gonna guess by this time next week, we're gonna see this place half full, depending on if those trucks from Oregon show up on time. Heading more towards the back, hopefully there's some pretty things in here to take a look at. Oh yes. Luckily a lot of these should be ready here in a couple weeks to come up, especially those ultra beautiful sweet violets. As for the rest of the greenhouse, it looks like potting was going on, but there's no crew in here. But you can see potted perennials as far as the eye can see. So we're gonna make our way into that greenhouse right there, see if anything's new, and then after that we'll make our way back to the owl barn where it's nice and warm because it is chilly today. Well, I don't see anything new exactly, but there sure is a lot of plants. These lobelia baskets are looking really nice. This is a great plant for a partially shaded to shaded spot. On my way back, I found a little grouping of cedars. It looks like someone has taken a few already. And some things look nice in here. Let's take a peek. A whole bunch of roses. Those are the Oh So Easy from Proven Winners. And some really big rhododendrons we have overwintered. Opposite that greenhouse is a perennial overwintering holding greenhouse. It's kind of crazy to think there's so many plants here right now, but it's just the beginning. I would say hundreds of thousands more plants are still due to come. One more thing before I head in. This is how we make our planting mix. This goes in our perennials, trees, shrubs, everything we pot up. This is a mix of peat, pine bark mulch, and the blue stuff is just fertilizer. We lay it out and then we mix it in with the tractor. Okay, so that's it for today. I appreciate you watching. I hope you get to tune into our new annuals for 2021 video. I think there's over 30 varieties of annuals on there and some are quite spectacular. So I definitely suggest you watch that and make a list of the ones you want. So again, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.